Is Kyler Murray a tier 3 quarterback? I guess. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. Leave a review. You know the drill. Yeah, that's it. Everydayers, thanks for hanging out. 9th season hosting this dang podcast. 15th year in sports media in Phoenix. Unbelievable. Unbelievable ride. And I've never been more excited than I am right now on the precipice of a new season. Expectations, talent, depth enough to back it up, and a surefire, is he the one or not, regarding Kyler Murray. There's no baked-in answer for me there. I'm going to leave it open-ended, and it's also not something that really needs to be discussed right now. I think it's kind of a fool's errand. But Pro Football Focus came out with their quarterback tier ranking, as they do every offseason. Kyler Murray's in tier 3B. Who's he grouped with? Who is he ahead of? Who is he behind? I'll talk about it all. Should the Cardinals play in the preseason? The preseason schedule came out. Should they be playing in the preseason? And I'm going to discuss specifically the offense. And finally, something that we haven't talked about really at all. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, that'll be fine. No need to talk about it. I like to talk about those things because there's no sure thing in the NFL. There's no year-over-year momentum regarding play, regarding cohesion. You have to relearn it every offseason. Sure, you've got guys that have played together for a long time. You've got vets. You've got guys who are better than others, of course. But is the running game just set and forget? Or is it something that needs to be discussed a little bit further? I'll hit it all today. So Pro Football Focus came out with their quarterback tier ranking. Tier 1, the elite, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Tier 2, they call high-end starters. Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert. Tier 3A, solid starters who have flashed high-end play. Jared Goff, Geno Smith, Brock Purdy. Tier 3B, solid starters, but they need more help. Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, and Tua. So Kyler Murray is the 15th ranked quarterback in the NFL heading into the 2025 season, according to Pro Football Focus. Their blurb as to why is, quote, after multiple injury-plagued seasons, Murray finally stayed healthy in 2024 and delivered an 82.1 overall grade. If you can avoid the injury bug in 2025, Murray's well-positioned to take another step forward in year 3 under head coach Jonathan Gannon and offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. Okay, so first things first. The national jargon being used that's kind of lazy is Kyler Murray's injury-plagued seasons. After several injury-plagued seasons. Multiple, to quote it properly. He tore his ACL mid-season 2022. Yes. He missed 3 games 1 year, but the majority of the time, he's playing football. Patrick Mahomes missed games. Lamar Jackson's missed games. Joe Burrow's missed a lot of games. Many games. It's not like that's something that is deterring him from. With that said, I think this is where he should be. And the verbiage by which got me to this point is tier 3A is solid starters who have flashed high-end play. Not flashes of high-end play, which is what we've seen from Kyler Murray. We saw it, for large chunks of 2021. We saw it some in 2019 and 2020. We saw some before he tore his ACL. We saw some when he came back from his ACL in 2023. We saw a good chunk last year. So if you want to put him in 3A, fine. But if you tell me he's the 15th best quarterback in the NFL going into 2025, you're like, sure, that's fine. Because that's the point from me screaming from mountaintops out of my big dumb face is it's about the floor this season, not the ceiling. We know what the ceiling is. He's reached the ceiling multiple times, and the ceiling is higher than the majority of quarterbacks in the NFL, including some who are ranked higher than Kyler Murray. But the difference is the floor. The difference is the idling speed. The difference is what you can expect his floor to be 95% of the time. And if you were to poll I don't know who. Fans, never mind. If we were to take stock of all of the series that he's played in the NFL, Jekyll and Hyde. Not all of it. It's not 50-50, but a high enough percentage to where you don't know at times what you're going to get. And with guys ranked above him, the majority of them, you know what you're going to get. I think Geno Smith is funny to be ahead of Kyler Murray. I don't really understand as to why. Because you know what his ceiling is, and it's definitely not high enough to render his ranking as high as it is. I think he's 10th. He's 10th. Brock Purdy's ahead of, like, Brock Purdy's numbers are there. They've won a bunch of games. I get it. Okay. Kyler Murray hasn't had a roster like the 49ers. He hasn't had a built-out roster like the Seahawks have had. But you put him, like, at least Trevor Lawrence wasn't ahead of him. At least Tua wasn't ahead of him. You know, Bo Nix. The Jane Daniels thing is funny. Like, more power to him. I hope he's great. Okay. He played 6 years in college, I think. So it's not like he played 3 years and came out. Like, he's an adult. And also, we saw this exact same thing happen with CJ Stroud last year, 2 years ago. And then he kind of hit a sophomore slump, even though they won a playoff game this year because the Chargers forgot how to play in the playoffs. But I think 15 is right. 15 is right because we don't know what the floor is in any given play or any given series. The pushback is his highs are higher than all of the other players in Tier 3A. They just are. And we've seen them. We just haven't seen them enough, I guess, to warrant this. Because of, if you're averaging the median play grade, I guess, for Kyler Murray would probably be a B- or B. The average play. There's been some Ds, there's been some A+, and it just kind of averages out. And when you look at the outlook for 2025, if in 2026 you see him as a Tier 2 guy going into 2026, he's got the capability to do it. We've seen it. And that's what makes it so frustrating. Tier 3B going into 2025, better than what it was. And now he's got a better roster. And now they've got no excuses. And now it's time to show why he could be a top 10 quarterback if that floor raises higher than we've seen in his NFL career. It doesn't have to be a lot. It just has to be more stable. The floor has to be higher. And I think he would be the first to admit that. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. So the Cardinals play their dudes in the preseason. I'll discuss that next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at LinkedIn. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. It's a post your job feature, man. It's a new feature that can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helped them find high-quality hires. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms, conditions, apply. Again, please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. And just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. I'm about 100 away from 4,000. Tell your friends. Would love to hit 4,000 before the season starts. Bust my ass doing this. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for those that constantly bitch at me. Thank you. It's fun. For those that agree with me, thank you. There's probably something wrong with you. I want to get that checked out. But yeah, and everybody in between. This is the best job I've ever had. So thank you for being a part of it. Should the Cardinals play their dudes in the preseason, specifically the offense? No. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. Don't hit me. They shouldn't. They're running it back. You know, if you want to give Kyler Murray a series in the last game or the second to last game, cool. I don't care that Andy Reid plays Patrick Mahomes in the preseason. I don't care. I don't care that Josh Allen plays in the preseason. I don't care. I don't care. What? I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're running your own race here. I don't think that there's any sort of benefit to the Arizona Cardinals saying downset hike in between the lines with the clock running that isn't week one, especially on the offense. Now, should Walter Nolan play sparingly? Sure. Should Will Johnson play sparingly if he's healthy? Sure. Should Jordan Burch and Cody Simon and Denzel Burke play? Sure. Sure. I think the defense definitely needs to play. Should Darius Robinson play? Yep. Should Bija Ojulari play? Absolutely. Does Trey McBride need to run routes? No. Does Marvin Harrison Jr. need to run routes with Kyler Murray? No. Oh, but Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't have 1,000 yards receiving or 10 touchdowns last year. So what? They need as many reps as they can. They could do it in practice. There's going to be a joint practice against the Broncos. For those who don't know what the preseason schedule is, the Cardinals host the Chiefs week 1 of the preseason. They're at Mile High in Denver week 2. And then they host the Cardinals. They host the Raiders week 3 of the preseason. Okay, so they've got a joint practice against the Broncos. That'll be fine. And playing at altitude, that's great. Like, I think that that's beneficial just because whenever you practice in altitude, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. As long as you're not cramping, and they won't. I mean, it's going to be hot in Denver, but at least it's not humid down there or up there. So, you know, I don't think the offense needs to play in the preseason. I just don't. If there were 4 games and you wanted to pepper them in, fine. There's 3, don't care. I know it's going to be a tough game in New Orleans. I know that, you know, the defense is retooled and officially rebuilt at this point. So the rebuild started 2 years ago, and they're retooling the rebuild, which means it's red. So I just don't think there's really any sort of benefit to rolling Kyler Murray out there. I just don't. Doesn't need the reps, dude. Like, he doesn't need the reps. It doesn't matter. You know, it just doesn't. It doesn't matter. Oh, he needs as many reps as he can get before the season to get on the same page as the offense because they weren't on the same page last year. They were on the same page last year, just not as much as people wanted. Marv's bulked up. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Is that a big deal? No. Is it a bad thing? 0 bad things about that. It'll be fun to see what the Cardinals defense can do against some sort of semblance of a Chiefs offense. I'm sure Bo Nix will play in that week 2 game sparingly. It'd be nice to see the Cardinals defense. Like, I don't think the Cardinals offense, it's not the reps. They're going to get plenty of them this offseason. Okay. They're going to get plenty. Should they have played Marv and Kyler Murray last offseason or last preseason? Probably. Probably. I don't remember if I said they should have or not, but probably. Like, looking back, obviously, when you have all the optics of what happened last season, sure. Kyler Murray and Trey McBride are connected on a string. Kyler Murray and Michael Wilson are connected on a string. Kyler Murray and Greg Dortch are connected on a string. Like, this is play calling. This is Kyler Murray going through his progressions. This is Drew Petzing setting up packages to expose opposing secondaries and backers outside of Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. targets. That's what this is. I think they're very close. And that's why I think running it back is fine. Michael Wilson has shown plenty. He hasn't gotten the opportunity. Oh, he's not fast. He doesn't separate. Who cares? He catches everything. Throw it in his vicinity. Greg Dortch, oh, no, they should bring in, they should bring in another burner. They should trade for Elijah Moore. Why? All Greg Dortch has done is produced. That's all he's done when given the opportunity. He hasn't been given opportunity during important games, only during the preseason and after they're out of playoff contention. I've said it so many times, but it's true. He is the backbreaker that the Cardinals need to utilize more for opposing defenses. He can house it anytime he touches the ball. You want to re-implement, you want to re-innovate the wide receiver screen packages, Greg Dortch is the guy. 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. It's not a down the field threat. You're not throwing 50-50 balls to him, and you're not throwing fade routes, even though I think they did throw one to him in the end zone last year. He's got the scoot, man. Let him eat. I don't think they need to play in the preseason. Is the running game set and forget? I don't know. Like, I'm not sold, but I'll explain why next. This is something else that I struggle with. James Conner, great. Trey Benson has shown flashes of the game slowing down for him exponentially as compared to what it looked like even in the preseason and early on in the regular season. Trey Benson, the game slowed down for him in Green Bay last year. I believe it was Green Bay when James Conner had an ankle and sat the opening series of the second half. And he showed burst on multiple runs last season. For those that have listened to this show and watched the show for a long time, you're going to have heard me say this before. For those that haven't watched for a long time, welcome. Water's warm. Enjoy. What? But this is something that I say. So stars that make it to the NFL, like players that make it to the NFL, usually are one of the best, if not the best players on their team ever since they were in Pop Warner. Okay, it's pretty much what it is. With that, they never sit out and haven't their entire life. So Trey Benson coming over, getting drafted in the 3rd round out of Florida State after having a bonkers year, injuries, things like that also, but he showed that he's one of the better backs in the draft 2 years ago. To the bench. Oh, you're going to go in for one series with 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter after standing there with your helmet on for 2 hours of real time. It's a little different. I always, allude to Lou Williams and Jamal Crawford, the 6th men, the dudes who can just come off the bench and hoop. Cold, doesn't matter. Don't need to have a sweat. Don't need to have a sweat going or anything. Not everybody's like that. So I think that a couple things are going to change in 2025. One, James Conner's usage is going to go down. Trey Benson's usage is going to go up. James Conner's, we're finally there. We're finally there with the LeGarrette Blount packages. That's what I've been waiting for 4 years now, 3 years now. I can't wait until they use James Conner in the LeGarrette Blount role where it's inside the 20s, goal line, short yardage, and then you let the kid eat between the 20s. A higher percentage of the time. It will allow Trey Benson, while the sweat is going, to use that as momentum to produce better on the field instead of just standing on the sideline for 2 hours. He's not used to it. He's never done it. Not everybody can do it. And if he is going to be the heir apparent to James Conner, this is the year where those numbers need to meet more in the middle. The usage numbers. It can't be 70. It can't be 80-20 probably like it was last year. I don't know what's going to happen with Michael Carter. I don't know what's going to happen if Tony Jones is just going to be a practice squad guy who's going to be up there. They're not going to need to use a 3-back set. They've got 2 guys who can be RB1s usage-wise. But I don't know if the running game is set and forget. We don't. With all of that said, James Conner is a year older, even though he's defying all times. And I'm the first one to say they should have extended him. They should have extended him. They should have extended him, and they did. Everybody wanted to move off from him. Watch what he's doing. Think for yourself. Don't just look at age and say, "Oh, I'm the smartest person in the room. See ya. This is what you're supposed to do." From the couch GM. No, watch football. Watch what he's done. Not just 2 years ago, not just 3 years ago, last year. But Trey Benson needs to be more involved. But we also don't know what Trey Benson can be when he's more involved. That's the big question mark. Even though we think he's going to be a great heir apparent, we think the Adrian Taylor-Demerson is going to be the heir apparent to Jalen Thompson / Budda Baker. We think We have no idea. We haven't seen it. We saw more of Rabbit last year doing that than Trey Benson. So we just set and forget? No, we got to see it. And with that, here's the mind screw. Say it's 80-20. Probably 70-30, whatever it was last year. James Conner, Trey Benson, just for clean numbers. I want to see 60-40. Less touches for James Conner, more impactful touches for James Conner, keeps his battery, more full, and allows Trey Benson to use his motor and get that momentum going for more impact plays instead of just being cold on the sideline. But the wrinkle, they got to pass the ball more in 2025. And what I mean by pass the ball more is more intentional throws. And when I say down the field, I'm not saying 15, 20-yard bombs down the field. I'm saying 8+ yards down, not just check downs 3 yards. First and 10. Oh, 2nd and 6. Was it a run? No, it was a throw. Less of those, less James Conner, more Trey Benson, more throwing the ball. The Cardinals win more games. You heard it here first. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s got muscles now, bro. I'll talk about that tomorrow. See you then.